I'm Elizabeth at Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I am a 6-year PhD candidate in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists. And as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have a book haul for you. So this is from 2 shopping trips on 2 different weekends that I took with my mother. Both times we went out to lunch and then went book shopping. So I have 2 books from the first trip and then 9 books from the other trip. But they were only $1 each, those 9, so it's fine. It's fine. My husband's not happy with me. Shocking. I deserved some books. I got job applications in, I finished a chapter of my dissertation, I finished an article. I deserve things. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Let's jump in. The first bookshop is River Run Books in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is not very far from where I live. Unfortunately, my favorite bookstore in Portsmouth, the Book and Bar, shut down, and I'm really, really sad. But I also do like River Run a lot. It's just they're new books, not used books, so they're more expensive. However, I did find 2 books that I liked there, and the first was actually one I was going to put on my Christmas list, so now I don't have to. And this is the Collected Poems of Sylvia Plath, edited with an introduction by her husband, Ted Hughes. I think if you've been watching my videos for a while, you kind of know I'm in like a Sylvia Plath obsession at the moment. I read a biography of her, Red Comet, earlier this summer and adored it. So now I've read a bunch of her poetry this year too, and now I'm like, I just want all of them. So yeah, I have all of them now. And this is a beautiful edition. And I'm just very happy to have it. It's done chronologically, which is interesting. So it's just, it's separated out by years, so like 1956, 57, instead of like by collection. So like there isn't a section that's just like the Ariel poems. And then there's also a bunch of poems from earlier in her life, her juvenilia. There's 50 of those. So I'm very happy to have this, and I think I'm gonna read it next year. And the other one from River Run is The Europeans by Henry James. Look at this short little thing. And this is about some European people who I think go over to America. Yeah, the suburbs of Boston. So I keep buying all these Henry James books. This is not the last time he's gonna show up here. And I haven't read any of them yet, but that's okay. I've only read 1 book by Henry James, The Turn of the Screw. But now I have this one, and I bought What Maisie Knew not too long ago. So, I don't know. I just feel like he's an important pseudo-Victorian author. I count him as Victorian, even though he's technically American. He had British citizenship, whatever. So when I feel like when I find a book that it's like in my time period, especially by an important author, I'm like, I should buy this. And it was an Oxford edition. You know, I love my Oxford edition. So even if I don't like the book, it'll still look pretty on my shelf. The second shop, now I actually found out because of Kim from Middle of the Book March, who lives in relatively the same area as me. This shop is called Avenue Victor Hugo Books, and it was actually closing down, and they were having a 2-weekend sale where all books were $1. So Kim went on the first weekend and I saw her book haul from it. So I went to my mom and was like, let's go on the second weekend and do this. So we did, and I found 9 books, several of them Victorian, and then several others. So the first one is Looking Backward from 2000 to 1887 by Edward Bellamy. This is a Victorian novel about time travel. So the guy goes from 1887 to the year 2000. It's one of these print-on-demand ones, which, meh, the print is kind of small, but again, it was $1. This is actually one of the favorite books of a friend of mine, and I've always wanted to read it because she loved it so much. So when I saw it, I was like, ooh. And yeah, it's print-on-demand, but like, again, $1. So if I really love it that much, I can always get a different edition if I want to, or not. This next one is a 20th century classic. This is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. I hate this cover. It's the film cover. I hate it. But again, $1. And so if I really love it, I can buy a prettier edition. And it's not like I'll be out money. It was $1. I did like deliberate really hard on this one. I was like, should I buy it? I really hate this cover. But ultimately, it's one that I've really wanted to read for a while, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't read yet. So I figured I would grab it while I had the chance to get it for $1. This is about a girl named Cassandra living in not so genteel poverty in a ramshackle English castle. And she is a writer, which is always very fun for me to have a writer main character. I've heard that this book is fantastic. Lots of people love it. So I'm excited to get to it. This cover's really dreadful. I hate in the clouds, they're kissing. I hate that so much. If that hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been as bad. But again, if I love it, I can get a different, prettier edition. So $1, it's a good deal. Next up is another one that I've really been wanting to read for a while. This is A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. This is a kind of a modern Indian classic. I don't actually know what year it was published in. It was published in 1993, so I think I would consider it a modern classic. Set in India, and is the tale of Lata and her mother who are trying to find a suitable boy for her to marry. I have heard that this is amazing. It's ginormous, obviously, but I'm really excited for it. I've heard such good things, and I think I'll love it. Next is more Henry James. This is Daisy Miller. I know nothing about this. It's about a girl named Daisy Miller who is an American girl who meets a guy named Winterbourne while they're in a hotel at Lake Geneva. No, nothing more than that. It's very short. You know, it was like, it's a Penguin classic. I was like, it has to come home with me. You know? I don't know. Like I said, I keep buying all these Henry James books. So I really hope I like him, because that would kind of suck to have bought all of these by him and then not liked him. I guess we'll see. Next up is more Victorian literature. This is The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. So this is a children's fantasy that I've always heard, like, I've heard the title mentioned, but I never actually knew what it was about, or read it for that matter. And apparently it is about a boy named Tom who's a chimney sweep, and the fairies turn him into an underwater sprite called a water baby. And he has adventures and learns valuable lessons. Again, Victorian, that's my time period. I feel like I haven't read a lot of Victorian children's literature, like just Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. That might be it for actual Victorian literature. Like, I've read Peter Pan and I've read some Frances Hodgson's Burnt-Net, but the ones by her were in the 20th century. So yeah, I feel like I should read more Victorian children's literature. And it sounds interesting. So, and it's this beautiful penguin classic for $1. Sticking in that same time period, but popping over to France, we have The Kill by Émile Zola. So I know nothing about this, other than I know Zola is a very prominent French novelist. Apparently this is the second book in a series and you should really read the first one first. But I wasn't leaving it behind because it's an Oxford classics and, you know, I like Oxford classics a lot. I am always hesitant to buy French books in English because I'm like, I should read them in French. But again, Oxford, so I don't know. It's fine. I really know nothing about this. The second volume in Zola's great cycle of 20 novels. Sir. Sir. 20? Okay. Okay. Jeez. Hope you don't have to read all 20 in order. God. But I'm interested to get to this. I feel like I need to read more French literature, especially from the 19th century, because Zola had a lot of influence on Victorian writers, particularly Mary Elizabeth Braddon really loved him. So this should be really interesting. Okay, back over to England for more Victorian literature. This is Trilby by George du Maurier. So apparently this slightly inspired Phantom of the Opera, and I can see how, because the first sentence of the summary is, this is the story of Trilby O'Farrell, a tone-deaf artist model who is miraculously transformed into a world-famous singer by a brilliant musician with hypnotic powers, Svengali. So I remember, actually Jennifer Brooks, who was a booktuber who sadly passed away in January, I think she read this, I don't know if it was last Victober or the one before, and she really didn't like it. But I was like, it's a Victorian novel, so I'm not leaving it behind. It's only $1. And I am kind of interested. And it's a Victorian author I've never read before, so that's always interesting to me, to read a new Victorian author to me. And I do like Phantom of the Opera, so I am kind of curious to see something that inspired it. Now we're going way, way back in time with Sappho. This is a collection of her poems translated by Mary Barnard. So yeah, I've read a few of fragments from Sappho, but not many, so I figured I would just grab this. I've been into poetry a lot lately, and I'm kind of curious about it. And last is a book in French. This is Du Côté de chez Swann by Marcel Proust. Swann's Way, the first book in À la recherche du temps perdu, In Search of Lost Time. This cover is so effing ugly. Look at this. Ugh, I hate it. And it's annotated to hell. Like, actually, not like how I've said with other books and it's just one annotation. No, the whole thing is annotated. However, it is in French. This is a series that I really want to read in French, which will be very difficult because it's a notoriously difficult one, even if you're reading it in translation. So I'm definitely not going to be attempting it anytime soon, but I do want to read it at some point. And I think it's actually worth buying an ugly edition for $1 to have it in French. So that is my book haul from September and October. Let me know down in the comments below, have you read any of these? What did you think of them? What books have you bought lately? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.